Go back. Stay away. Stand. Sit at least 10 feet back.
Hey, Mado.
Hello there, Julius.
Welcome everyone else to another episode of Bright Dogs. It's a bit late over here. We're a little bit tired. We just came back from seeing the Batman.
The Batman.
Fear is a tool. But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
I'm gonna throw us into the deep end immediately.
Oh no. Oh no.
Gonna talk the movie experience because it's late. My eyes are still a little bit out of whack. I mostly blame you. Yeah, I'm mostly gonna blame you for getting us
Nag.
seats just in front of the screen, like second row, middle. There's a lot of warning here. There's a lot of strobe lights. There's a lot of headlights. There's a lot of lighting that just comes out of nowhere. And if you're sitting very close to the screen watching this movie, it's gonna hit you like a flash grenade. Did you? Just a question here. I found the movie to be a little bit out of focus, a little bit blurry. Did you get that sense too? Like there was a lot of focus issues with the camera.
I think there was a lot of the what do you call it, the depth of field, etc. effects. But I think it's more like exactly the actual editing and the shots of the movie, not so much the screen or something to that effect. I think there was a lot of, as you said, focus in, focus out a little bit. Who's in focus right now in the shot, going back and forth. It was a little bit all over the place, but it distracted maybe.
I like the colors. I like the color palette in this movie. A lot of red.
There was a lot of red, more than the normal. In fact, I mean, compared to okay. You like the colors. The colors, they were barely there. They were like, it's yellowish, the yellow post-apocalyptic screens and colors usually, and then you have the dark and then the red. That's pretty much it. There wasn't a lot more. And the lights, the white light.
I mean, you go with the you go back to the 60s,
Yeah.
and I'm actually going to do some comparisons later on to the 60s show as well, but. You go back there, it's very joyfully colored.
Now that's a color right there. That's what I call
very light, easy on the eyes. Then you have the gothic, Michael Keaton movies, which are white and black, but that blue white color. A lot of that.
Also dark, right?
There's a lot of snow. Yeah, and dark, but you get that strobe because you have a lot of snow. The Joker is purple and white, and
there is some hint, yes.
And then you have that gothic, but with crazy colors that came after that in the Clooney and the Val Kilmer movie.
Yeah.
And then you have the more serious, damp. Trilogy, Dark Knight trilogy,
and now wasn't comes that damp, honest. Like the Dark Knight compared to this one. I mean, okay, how many daylight scenes were in this one? Barely any. Like there's not a lot of daylight scenes in this movie, so there's not a lot of daylight and color.
And those that are, it's raining. It's always raining when it's daylight. In this one,
you get really the sense of hopelessness through the color work. I feel like the city is. It's not feeling great.
I mean, we're just before going over to a, Sin City movie coloring in almost black and white. We're not far from it, but with a lot of red nuances.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy that. I did really enjoy that when because it sort of felt in line with that Batman is wearing in this movie contact lenses, which gives him the ability to record, and so it kind of immerses you that you're also seeing it a little bit from his eyes, his perspective, because he's wearing those lenses. Very
Yeah, yeah.
you don't really think about it until the first time when he takes them off. So I like the color
But
scheme. I like the color palette. Very dark, very grim.
But when it's denied, it's in violence you may find.
And so we usually do in the beginning. How easy was it to get into, follow along a video game or a board game? And now talking about a movie, how easy was it to experience this movie? Any other comments on the movie experience itself that before you tell me if you would recommend or give a duck
I mean,
for the movie experience?
Honestly, from my side, it was a fairly, you can go in there fully blank, knowing nothing about Batman and still somewhat enjoy some of because it's a fairly standalone story. Don't really need, it helps with some background, so it's fairly easy to get into everything somewhat like explainable. They don't go too deep into each character and background of each of everyone, but there is a hint of them. But yeah, not even Batman himself is like, there's very little like, okay, what happened? It's not like the origin story over and over again. The Dark Knight trilogy, they already did it, so they're not gonna go back and do the whole Batman Begins thing here. It's just there is Batman and he exists, and this is his current state of mind and status. So
Exactly. So I mean, from my end, I'm gonna go first here, and I'm gonna say with a caveat, I'm gonna give it a duck. I'm gonna give it my yellow duck. It's got my yellow duck, but the caveat being that you gave me the worst tickets ever to experience this movie. And to sit there for 3 hours and take that
nag.
So, anything you want to add about the movie experience?
I also want to hand it the yellow duck. The movie experience was a 9 out of 10.
I've been trying to reach you.
Let's kick off with Batman, the titular Batman himself. Want to go first?
I mean, I can talk a little bit about it. I mean, Batman I enjoyed, right? The actual, like, Robert Pattinson as Batman was great. Bruce Wayne, I felt was like way too, like I said, emo. It's like we barely saw Bruce Wayne, honestly. It was very couple of scenes here and there, but he was there. He was in the movie. It wasn't just like, again, if we compare it to Batman Begins, where a lot of the movie he's actually Bruce Wayne, and then in other movies he still, presents himself as Bruce Wayne, and it's also the origin story is a little bit different here. So he is not, the same. He's a bit more down, and he's more out for revenge and vengeance. Still haven't settled down. It feels like it's a teenage, not a teenager necessarily, but still a very young Bruce.
He's driven by vengeance.
Yeah.
And he has an arc where by the end, he comes to a couple of conclusions to his drive for vengeance.
Yeah.
So that's him maturing over the movie. Yeah. So I think
it's a cool growth, yeah.
Is a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thematic here, how he grows and handles vengeance and his perspective on vengeance, and the fact that as Batman, he's a teenager. If we then translate it over, as you say, and to quote you, completely agree there, when he's Bruce Wayne, which he isn't a lot, he's very little Bruce Wayne in this movie, he's a emo.
Pretty much.
He's pretty much an emo kid. An angry kid with a lot of black. I got the, remember Peter Parker in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies when he got symbiote?
Yeah,
and he started wearing black shirts and combed his hair, and I'm happy Robert Pattinson didn't do the dance. I'll put it like that.
It's a different Bruce, right? It's not the same, and I'm glad it's actually a little bit different because in the Batman trilogy, the previous one, there was like, okay, it was the whole thing where was there an origin story. They had to explain everything about his suit, why he picked the suit, all the gadgets he's getting from. We get none of that. Like we don't even know where he's getting his gadgets from. All that stuff.
Oh, yeah,
we
there's
just
no
established
Lucius.
nothing like that. Exactly. There's
no Lucius here.
and Wayne Manor is literally just a skyscraper in the middle of the city instead of being out in the middle of the grassy fields. And the way he gets into
They
his
don't have
Batcave.
Wayne Manor in this movie. They have Wayne Tower.
The tower, exactly. It's the Wayne Tower, and then there is actually the Batcave is just somewhere below.
There's this little bit of emo theme on all of them. It feels like a high school drama. The characters are thrown into this dark movie, but it's really high school characters. If we take the Riddler, he felt like one of these Columbine shooters.
Oh wow, you're going there, but yeah, I mean.
I mean, you remember what happened there? Like there were these kids, and they were on the forums, and no one wants to be friends with me, and I'm so angry with everyone around me, and they did this.
A lot of anger in this movie.
Yeah, but like these kids that felt like they were owed, a better social life, better treatment by people around them, and then they.
They were failed by society.
Horrible thing, and doing these horrible things, and that's the Edward in this movie. He's just like such a character. His character is built like that, in my opinion. I don't know if you saw that as well, or if you found a different perspective.
They're both orphans, right? There is that, both of them, both he and Batman, and but they're all both having completely different upbringings. One being obviously the billionaire heir, and the other being just an orphan, being brought down by the society and the system to a state where he's going crazy. I'm guessing. I don't know, that we didn't really get too much into his background. That they didn't get too deep, but there was still some things there. But yeah, I did get. I mean, obviously, yes, the anger. You're angry. You're gonna take it out on society. Let's go gather up with all the other bullied, angry, beaten down boys, and we have our own little forum there, and we're hidden. We'll try and do this thing. So that's pretty much the Riddler in this case. It was a very dark Riddler, right? Comparing it with the older Riddler, like the Jim Carrey Riddler. Nothing like that at all.
Oh no. And nothing like the 60s Riddler.
Or that either, yes, absolutely not.
And often, in the comics and in other medias, he wanted to he was actually doing good things in the beginning.
Yeah,
or at least there was intent to do good things.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as the good things, but yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Like two examples. You take the Arkham games.
Yeah.
In the Origins ones, you're hunting down Riddler, who's looking to leak information about dirty politicians or dirty cops, which is what this Riddler is punishing people for, right? You've got for those that haven't checked out our Batman podcast, feel free to check the link below. I'm gonna change something that I said in an episode there, where one of my favorite, Riddlers was Jim Carrey. I'm gonna change that and say that one of my favorite Riddlers is actually the one from the Gotham series, where he's driven by, he actually wanted to do good, but he feels superior to his peers intellectually. So this narcissism builds him up, and then he takes a little bit more action to his own hands. But he thinks he's doing good things. This guy...
I mean, this one also has some of that, right? I mean, you always immediately say...
But he wants to punish. He wants to hurt everyone. in the end. You know, for
Not everyone,
wants to
but yeah,
punish
he cares
Gotham.
mostly about himself. That's the whole narcissistic part. Yeah, he wants to, punish this entire Gotham, and nobody deserves, everybody deserves. I deserve vengeance from everyone else, and I'm gonna beat down on the system because, I get so beaten down myself. So there is like, not maybe narcissism isn't the right word. More like I don't know, no.
oh, he's not narcissistic. at all.
He's
That's
more
basically-
like what is the word for it? Self.
he feels
obviously-
entitled to.
That's the thing.
To have,
He wants something better. Like he's like, I should have had what you had, Bruce, right? Because that's what was promised by your father and the society, etc. So
he does. He does make me also think about the Joker from The Dark Knight. Like the Joker attracted other mentally ill and mentally insane. This Riddler attracted others that felt that they had been let down by society and wanted to punish.
yeah,
So they both had kind of that attract other with similar issues, which was quite interesting. But to conclude a little bit quickly on the Riddler, I'm not. I don't want to say I'm satisfied. It's an interesting take.
Whoa, take it easy.
Penguin, what's your thought?
dude, I was really surprised to know who that was because I had no idea. I literally just learned like 2 hours ago or so. Like, whoa! When I checked the the credits, how's that? Spoiler alert: Colin Farrell. What?
Colin Farrell is unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Unrecognizable. For just the makeup, how they redid Colin Farrell, amazing work.
It was pretty impressive. But I mean, generally though, Penguin as a villain. I mean, he was not the Penguin the villain. It was obviously the focus was on Riddler, but the character.
The amazing
wasn't
thing
there.
is
Yeah.
the makeup,
Yeah.
the transformation of Colin Farrell, which I knew going into the movie that he would be playing Oswald Cobblepot. So already during the movie, I thought that was wow, this is so cool. But when I then started to take in what they were actually doing with the character, I was not happy about the character. I'm not happy about Oswald Cobblepot in this
Oh
movie.
wow! Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit indifferent, honestly. I think some scenes were cool with him. Like he wasn't that prominent either in the movie. There was some scene, like there was a large scene or a long scene with the whole car chase. That was, I guess, his biggest moment in the movie. There was a couple of club scenes, etc., but not a lot. I agree, though that
But my biggest problem is that all that could have been done with random other character. Didn't have to be Oswald Cobblepot.
Yeah, I agree.
Did not
Like,
have to be Penguin. I'm amazed that you take an Irish actor, you put him in a role that stereotypically has a British dialect, and he sounds like an Italian.
Yeah, he's
or something like
he's
that.
supposed to sound like an Italian or something. Yeah.
Selena, don't throw your life away.
Don't worry, honey. I got 9 of them.
Selena Kyle. Yeah, she was great. I thought she really. I mean, when you really do start seeing her as you do fairly quickly see her as Catwoman, I thought she was a very good Catwoman.
My bar was pretty high up. I expected a lot, and Zoe Kravitz delivered.
She was excellent.
Good Catwoman.
Yeah, one of the greater performances in the movie.
Commissioner Gordon.
Oh yeah, the commish. No, I thought also one of the stronger performances. He could, of course, compared to Gary Oldman, honestly, maybe not the greatest performance. Like Gary Oldman was a better Commissioner Gordon, or rather a Jim Gordon generally.
Since I saw him in Hunger Games, I think that's the first time that I can remember seeing. He's just
Or Boardwalk Empire,
blown
if you watched
up.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't follow the show,
Yeah.
but he's just blown up like an actor for me, and he I think he did a great job as Gordon. I think he really did a really great job as Gordon.
Some of these characters I feel like were just there for like they didn't have enough screen time or growth or even a story arc, enough of a story arc to call them like to justify their presence. They just prolonged the movie.
We can just throw in here Alfred.
Yeah.
Alfred didn't have enough, and to have like a good actor like Andy Serkis play him was fairly waste of his talents.
Yeah. I mean, he absolutely, especially someone like Andy Serkis, who's like very, there's a lot of dialects, voice work for a lot of, movements, etc. Like he's very mute, and this is like barely talking, barely even moving, barely doing anything.
Did not expect to see a usual comic relief character play probably the real bad guy in the movie, at least the big bad guy from The Long Halloween, which this is so much based upon. It was a bit distracting. It was much better than I expected when, seeing John Turturro pop up to play such a, titular role. So I'm okay with his performance.
He did a decent job, not too bad. Again, the scenes he was in were okay. They're not. He didn't come off as menacing or anything like that, but.
What's your take? Are you satisfied with the characters? Would you give this a duck for them?
There were so many that didn't have a full story arc from my end. They didn't really fill so many fillers. I don't know. I loved them, but at the same time, So, but at the same, it wasn't a Justice League, so it wasn't like a full. So half
could have been worse.
It could have been worse for sure. I'll give it a duck. Yeah, I'll give it a duck for sure. Yeah, the characters.
I'm gonna go with glass half empty. I'm sorry.
No duck.
Batman. Yeah, I'm not gonna give it a duck. I mean, I liked him as Batman, and that's an important. I like Selina, but I didn't appreciate Riddler fully.
No.
And so many wastes of no names.
Yeah.
Like, let's put a name on this character like Penguin just because people know Penguin.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go glass half full. I want to say that I'm on the fence. I think Zoe Kravitz did a great job. Jeffrey was good, and Robert Pattinson did a decent job, but too much emo kid. And Green Duck, our usual multiplayer duck,
is now all about story and single player.
This story, I like it. I like The Long Halloween. I like that story. My only issue with it is we mentioned this movie is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
It could have been much shorter.
Yeah, I mean the latter half was dragged on for too long, and again they just moved like it was scenes for nothing almost. Like, well, what are we doing here? What's the point of this scene? Nothing really. We're just trying to kind of wrap up this penguin guy. We're gonna chase him for 30 minutes, and then we're gonna let him go.
Do nothing.
Exactly.
Right. We've already mentioned spoilers, right?
Spoilers.
Yeah. No. That's a big one. That they chase him and then they just leave him. Like, why? But then there's the. I think the last third of the movie was just so. I don't know. That really turned Columbine for me extreme.
And it's. I
It
think.
felt like.
Yeah. What do you
I'm
mean?
thinking, from the point where they captured the Riddler.
Yeah.
So they captured the Riddler, but he's not going to be there for the third and last, killing, where he's got these followers that are going to, shoot down a bunch of Gotham citizens. once that he's caught, once there's a twist, it just drags on too long once Batman finds out that final twist that the Riddler has.
I mean, not only that's the problem. I think the problem for me is that we find out, and we're just sitting there watching 30 minutes of trying to see like Batman get it already. I don't like that. I don't like when you, the audience, know the actual answer, and you're just sitting there waiting for the bat to figure it out, like, or the actor in this case, or the lead, whatever is going.
That takes a lot from the immersion.
Yeah, exactly. At
right?
least keep us also somewhat puzzled throughout the thing. Don't just give us the thing, or that part. I felt like, oh yeah, okay, let's just sit here wait until Batman figures it out, and we move on with our lives, because obviously we know what's going on. So, like, I thought the beginning was so strong in comparison. Like, you can clearly see it, like how you get sucked in the beginning there with the murder of the mayor, like, and everything. What's going on after that? Like, oh, well, there's a mystery. Oh, there's a riddle. Oh, the Riddler is going on. What's good? And then it starts losing both its mystery and its charm and everything. There is nothing left. There's not even a twist in the end. Nothing is like, there is something to keep you,
and even the part that when they get Falcone and they get the Riddler, you've got all the bad guys. You have the intensity is when they capture Falcone, and then you get that bonus like thrill. You get like a second injection from out of nowhere, like a bonus injection when they have to get because you forget about the Riddler at the point when everyone's so focused on Falcone and getting him. They really create this great narrative regarding Selina's revenge on him and how Batman aids that revenge, and it's all everything that the Riddler has been trying to show them through his riddles and murders. It's all Falcone, and so they get Falcone, and then plot twist: the Riddler kills Falcone.
Yeah,
and they now can see him. They're chasing him, but he just lets himself go, and then it just dives down, and it never really goes up again. It never peaks again. It's just mellow, even though they try to add some drama with the final scenes.
Yeah.
But it just, I'm sorry, once again, it's a bunch of people with the same issues as the Riddler now taking revenge on innocents in Gotham. And let's not forget, Batman's suit in this movie can take a punch more than any other Batman. He takes a double-barrel shotgun to the chest from point blank. So you're never really, and he does this a couple of times in the movie, so you're never really worried at this point that there's any thrill. So 2 first thirds of the movie, great. To the point where they captured both Falcone and the Riddler, awesome. But then the last third kind of falls short. Duckwise,
I mean, like, I enjoyed The Long Halloween. I think it's a great book. I would much rather just read the book if you want a good Batman story. So for that, like, the story itself, the story arc, I don't think it's that intriguing. Honestly, it's a good. There's good sections, but and some good character growth and good characters generally, Batman and Selina, but nothing like that's earth shattering in terms of story wise. Like the Riddler, the way the whole story generally is like, it still kept me interested, right, in the whole throughout the movie at least, and the except for the last third. But I don't know. Nah, I would say no duck for me. No duck for me.
I'm gonna not give it duck either, but you know what I'm gonna blame? Because I'm on the fence. It's an okay movie. 2/3 is quite a chunk of movie that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, 2/3 is 2 hours, so
yeah, it's 2 hours entertainment.
Should have ended there.
But I'm gonna blame you. I'm gonna blame you in the seats.
I can't tell anyone to say, "Hey, this is a great Batman story. Go for it." I'd say just, "Hey, you know what? That's an okay good Batman story, but here's a better one. Just read this one instead."
I've been trying to reach you.
When a murder happens, you don't see blood squibs, things like that. So I think it's a PG-13, even though it's a dark theme.
It's mostly like the theming, I think, like the general just this theme and the overall atmosphere that's a little bit more like on the darker side, more mature side.
I'd say from my end, this wouldn't be the Batman that I'd recommend Luke for, my kid. It's not the first I'd go to. It's not the last. I can
like
tell you that
the
as well.
Batman trilogy is worse if you recall, like in terms of watching with kids. In my opinion, this is way like this. I would watch this one. Maybe I'd watch the Tim Burton one. Actually, I'm not so
Burton.
sure. I'm not
I'd
so
go
sure.
Tim Burton first, to be honest.
I haven't watched that one in a long time. I have no idea how well it holds up in terms of kid friendliness. But I watched
I'm
it as a
looking
kid.
forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing the Tim Burton movies with Lucas. I think that's where I would start. I like the Joker movie, not as much the Penguin, but this one I wouldn't put that high up on. This is something I have to see with Lucas. Like I said, the visuals have that effect. Batman's a bit of an emo, and the whole, and you know why I think why I wouldn't recommend this movie? I think it's because of the Riddler. Because I'd love, to show a Riddler that has riddles, that has.
So it has nothing
proper riddles that he can himself sit down and think about. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I like the Riddler in the 60s Batman, because those are riddles that, even though the Boy Wonder is quite fast to solve, you still get a little bit of time to quickly think about them yourself.
Yeah.
And I find that really fun. I find the puzzle solving fun, and this really didn't give you so much time. Pattinson was very quick to tell us the answers for every riddle, and he didn't really play with the riddle themes enough.
He is the world's greatest detective. He should know. If you get a riddle, you should quick answers.
But Enigma says he's Batman's greatest nemesis because his intellect is so superior. So you should be able to give him a challenge, right? Yeah. So right. Overall, we hit all our ducks, unless you want to bring out the pink one.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays.
Purple Duck. Are we recommending this movie?
I would like to recommend it. I mean, it's not going to be the best movie you'll see in this year, maybe. I don't know. I haven't watched more. Actually, I have watched a better movie already, so no. But it's still a good one, I think. And I enjoyed my time watching it, honestly, even if it was as we said, the last hour was a little bit draggy. I enjoyed my experience watching this movie, and the story, the characters, the new version of Batman, but most importantly, like we talked before, like the coloring, the cinema, like the actual movie, as a technical movie, it's a great looking one, and it's a great there's some cool things. One thing we never really talked about was the Batmobile. I want to mention was a different and a yet very enjoyable Batmobile, a more down to earth, very, again, it's a grimy movie, it's a dark movie, it's a teenage movie. You want to run that Mustang, not for too long though, because with today's oil prices, etc.
So it's a Purple Duck from Mado.
I'll give it a Purple Duck.
You know what? Even though my ducks so far don't speak for it, I'm actually also going to give it a Purple Duck. I've set a quite high, Batman bar for it. But as just a movie, I'm gonna say as just a movie, I'll recommend it because I do think there are bits and pieces here that elevate it. Like I said, I think the Catwoman did a great job. Even though the whole cast ensemble, I didn't really appreciate the characters fully. Otherwise, we have the general movie experience. Yes, some out of focus, but I think that's mostly because of the seats you bought me. That's the third time I mention it.
You mean the 15th time?
With the story, I do like the long Halloween bits. But it just, the rest of it, especially the last third, once they conclude on what's the long Halloween story, it falls, but still that those 2/3 are decent movie wise. And I'm gonna also add a bonus reason why, just like you in the car. And this is the first Batman since the 60s where you see Batman running, walking,
that was
moving,
great. Yes.
transporting himself by his own limbs properly, not just grapple hooking to roofs or dropping down from the sky or driving a tank of a car. He's actually running through corridors.
Yeah.
He's walking.
I mean, he's mostly doing that. He's barely even using his Batmobile. In the end, there he used a little bit his Bat bike, but
yeah, but that was downhill.
Yeah.
So just to save gas, he only did a long bat motorcycle scene while they were driving downhill to save gas. No, but really, yeah, you see a lot of running around, walking around. It looks goofy in the 60s. It made it sort of in the beginning look a little bit goofy, but then it just made sense. You can't always grapple and drop down from the sky and whatever that, all the previous Batman did. I actually enjoyed that this guy used his limbs for other things than kicking. So yeah, no, with that little quirky comment, I'm also giving it a purple duck.
Oh yeah,
as a movie.
That's
right?
the Batman for you.
That's the Batman.
Out in theaters, go watch.